All right, Cassie, you called it. You told us last night that it was going to be a long, turbulent night, and I think that we were all kept up by those storms.
Yeah, and
you were here.
Yeah, and our storm trackers were out. They were all over it. They were watching not only the strong wind gusts that we had some small hail, but the flooding. That was the biggest issue with last night. So we had Tom Pastrano, we had Hank Brown, and we also had Jeremy Carter, and they were out as always. They've had a long week because we keep getting all of these storms that come in, and they happen to be during the overnight hours, just kind of what happens a lot during the summertime. But specifically down in Norman, some of these shots were down in Norman, and you know that parts of Norman, it just floods a little bit easier there, and there were some people that kind of got stuck at times with their vehicles in a lot of that water, so it just kept piling on, and at this point the ground just can't really take anymore, so we end up with scenes that look like this. Now let's go to Links 1, and so far for the month of July, we're only 11 days in Oklahoma City. We are on tap to be the 5th wettest July, and we could easily make it to #1 because we're not done with storm chances. We still very much have those in the forecast, but we're getting a temporary break. Right now, the bigger headline for the next few days, it's really going to be the heat. So we've got the heat advisory for most of the state in yellow. We've got an excessive heat warning near Tulsa. Any way you break it down, it's going to be really hot, and it's going to feel anywhere between about 100 to 110 degrees. But Storm Shield 9, much quieter this afternoon, and that's going to lead to a very quiet evening. You can kind of see that spin from yesterday. That is now over Arkansas right now, and we have lots of sunshine across most of the state, but that's also leading to slightly warmer temperatures, but it's going to be a lot hotter in the days ahead. So this is our Guthrie camera up of our Lucky Star Skycam network. 88 degrees, the south wind at 6 miles an hour with dew points now in the mid-70s. It still feels more like 97 degrees. Temperatures in the upper 80s and low 90s across the north. We do have upper 90s and low 100s, though still in southwest Oklahoma with the southeast wind between about 10 to as much as around 15 miles an hour or so. So that's not really providing a whole lot of relief, but that wind's going to be picking up a little bit more here in the days ahead. And we're not the only ones dealing with the heat. You can see really all of the southern plains under that heat advisory, and it's just going to get hotter. So temperatures expected to make it back into the mid and upper 90s. We're certainly going to have some low 100s, at least in parts of the state. I think it may be a little bit harder to come by here in Oklahoma City, but we're going to get dangerously close, that's for sure. So in the days ahead, at least over the next couple of days, it's going to get hotter. The ridge of high pressure, it's just going to be just to the south and west. We're still going to have an opportunity for a couple of fronts to move into the north and bring at least a chance of rain and storms in parts of northern Oklahoma. That ridge backs off a little bit more for this weekend, so that's going to put us back in a northwest flow, which means it's going to be easier for us to get more storms in here, especially as we get into Friday night and again Saturday night, and that could lead to more severe weather. But by the time we get to early next week into midweek, eventually the ridge of high pressure comes back. That will cut off the storm chances, but then the heat returns. So it's one or the other. Tonight, temperatures dropping down into the low to mid 70s. Tomorrow afternoon, it's going to be hot. 96 degrees in Oklahoma City, 97 in Ponca City, but 103 in Lawton, 102 in Altus, and 102 tomorrow afternoon in Ardmore. Tomorrow afternoon looks pretty quiet, but as we get into tomorrow night to Thursday morning, looks like a boundary is going to drop a little bit farther south into at least northern Oklahoma. I still think there's going to be a slight chance here in Oklahoma City and parts of eastern Oklahoma, but the chances will be highest to the north. And if these storms do develop, there's going to be a low threat that they could produce up to quarter-size hail, wind gusts to about 65 miles an hour. By Thursday, boundaries to the north, so just north of that boundary, temperatures in the low 90s, but out ahead of it, we've got a high of 97 in Oklahoma City, 98 in McAllister, 99 in Ada, 100 in Lawton, 104 though, and Altus, 102 in Hobart, and 96 degrees in Clinton. This is when we're getting a little bit more in that dangerous category, because not only is it going to be hot, but it's also going to be very humid. Just all the moisture in place is going to be extremely humid. By Thursday afternoon, still dry, but Thursday evening, we have a slight chance of an isolated shower storm. Chances do look highest out in the Panhandle, but Thursday night into Friday morning, that chance is going to shift a little bit farther to the east. So northern Oklahoma, under a moderate chance of seeing rain and storms, a slight chance here in Oklahoma City. But I think the severe threat during that time will be staying to the north. And again, we're still looking at quarter-size hail, wind gusts of 65 miles an hour. But as we get into Friday night, I think that's going to be our next bigger chance or higher chance, at least here in Oklahoma City, of seeing another severe weather event during the overnight hours. And it could happen again by Saturday night.